All right. So first, before we get started, I just want to get a feel for what social media platforms you guys are using. So if you could raise your hands, who's using Facebook primarily? A lot of Facebook, good. That's what I wanted to talk about today. How about Instagram? Instagram, all right. Snapchat? Good, because I didn't want to talk about Snapchat. I'm too old for Snapchat, I feel. All right, YouTube? Just doing YouTube? Little bit of YouTube? All right, good. So, you have to know your audience, right? You guys, can you just tell me real quick, you guys think that looks like me? I have a hard time seeing it. I don't know, people on Instagram think it does. But you gotta choose the right platform for your business. And to do that, you really need a strategy, right? So like, you can't just anymore, like on Facebook, you can't just put posts out there and hope people see them, right? You really need a strategy, and you have to, everything now is a paid strategy. Who here is doing paid advertising on Facebook? Good. So paid is really where it's at right now if you want to reach any kind of an audience. You can't really rely on organic search anymore. So you really have to pick what social platforms you want to be on. Here, who's on more than just Facebook? Anybody Twitter? Any Twitters out there? Are you trying to juggle a lot of different social networks because you think you have to be everywhere? Yeah. You really just need to focus on one or two and be really good at those, right? So right now on Facebook, organic reach for pages is less than 2% on average. So that means every time you do a post out on Facebook, less than 2% of your fans actually see that and engage with it. So if the same people are engaging with your content, that's no good. So that's why you have to do a paid strategy and get more people to see your stuff. And it's all about content, right? You have to come up with unique content. You can't just focus on selling, buy me, posts all the time. Nobody wants to see that stuff. You actually have to put a human voice behind your page or your Twitter account. Actually engage with people, answer questions. You'll get a lot of feedback. Video. Who's doing videos? Who's doing more than one video a month? More than one video a week? Awesome. Video is where it's at right now. Not just any video, but you need high quality videos on every platform. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, everything's going towards video now. 85% of Facebook users watch videos with the sound off, right? What does that mean? You need to start putting captions on your videos. People are consuming content on their phones. And like today, hopefully while I'm talking, everyone's watching videos with the sound off. Anyone want to raise their hand if they're doing that right now? So, you want to be where the magic happens, right? But you got to find out where your comfort zone is. So not just videos. Anyone here doing live videos? Only a couple people, huh? So live videos is really where it's at right now, right? This gives you, people can actually like see who you are and interact with you live and ask you questions. And these videos can live on later too. 20% of Facebook videos are live streams right now. That's how people want to consume content. And in order to know where your audience is, you have to pay very close attention to your analytics. you can start seeing the demographics that are coming to your page. You can see if you have a business account on Instagram, you can start seeing your analytics on who's interacting with your content, age demographics, locations. So you really want to focus on your analytics and reaching a bigger audience. You can also, another way is with Facebook who's using Facebook Pixel at all? A few of you, that's awesome. So with Facebook Pixel, you can then put a little bit of code onto your website and make an audience based on visitors that are visiting your website and who are already on Facebook. So it's a really good way to actually target people who might not be a fan of your page. Only there's like 60% of the people on Facebook don't actually like a fan page. You know, so you really have to reach out to them, and you don't have to have very large budgets to get started. A lot of people think you need to spend a crazy amount of money, like Google AdWords, right? Or Facebook, but you don't have to have a large budget. And a lot of targeting on Facebook already has Instagram built in, right? Because Instagram is an extension of Facebook now. So you're actually advertising on both platforms. How are we doing on time? They only gave me 20 minutes, so. Do you guys, I want to open it up for questions, because I want to get a feel for what you guys want to know. So do you have any questions? Oh, right there.
Are you going to go through in more detail the analytics and how to decipher them and how to drill down into the deeper levels of analytics to figure out what needs to change?
Yeah, sure. So really, analytics on Facebook, it's really based on, you can get likes, right, and comments. You can get those stats. But once you really start getting into who people actually are and what their interests are, is what you really want to focus on. So you really want to make sure, like with a Facebook ad, you can target pretty precise of your locations, not only by like zip code, but what their actual interests are.
So just a follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
If you've already targeted, then how do you figure out really where your engagement came from to measure the results of your ad, for example, on just a boost post, for example?
On just a boosted post? So, boosted posts, like, what are you targeting with that boosted post? Just like fans of your page?
No, lifestyle choices, people who like, art and like Geneva, a variety of things.
Yeah, you can actually, one method that I really like to do is boost that post to fans of your page, right? And I like to choose that fans of the page and their friends, right? Get that initial interaction going, get those initial likes and comments going. But then I also like to take that post and run it as an ad to a similar audience. So then you might, actually reach like people in Lake Geneva that aren't fans of your page, right? So then you start seeing, with that, you'll start seeing new fan page likes, new comments, new interest, more traffic to your website, right? You want to actually have like an action. What do you want people to do with that post? Is it to just get the likes and feedback and comments, or do you actually want them to go to your website and take action?
So what you're saying is the only good way to measure if your target is to get them to the website is to use Google Analytics probably to measure how many
Both,
posts?
yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, don't just rely on your Facebook analytics, but you're going to get so much more from Google as well. Yeah.
Can you give us an example of how you just walk us through? So when you go to boost a page or you go to get the word out about something, what's the process of it?
Yeah, okay. So what I like to do, well, right now video is huge, right? So if you're going to boost anything on Facebook right now, it's got to be more than just a photo. Your money's going to go a lot further with a boosted video. You're going to get way more video views. It's a lot cheaper. But what I'm going to do is either create that that blog post, right, with that big, nice image and description, trying to get people to take action. You can also add, like, when you boost a post on Facebook, you can add that, like a learn more button to that post as well. That gives you that nice, like, big title and description that you can take advantage of extra text, not just text like within the post. So what I like to do is, for video, you can add those as well. So I like to have that go back to the video taking action, to go back to a website, maybe like fill out a form or something like that, or whether you're like selling a product page, or maybe you're buying tickets to something. And then what I like to do is start that engagement off, boost that to fans of your page, because you want the people that already like you want them to see your stuff, because they're going to be liking and commenting on your stuff to get that started. And then actually, after that campaign, you run that for maybe a day to get a little engagement built up, and then run that to a similar audience within your, I'd say, like, it doesn't have to be just Lake Geneva, but Wisconsin, Illinois, surrounding areas. Run that to that similar audience as an ad. So they still see it in their timeline. It doesn't look like the little ads on the side of Facebook, right? It still looks like a regular post. And then people start seeing that, oh, this already has like 1,000 views. You already got some interaction going. And then run that campaign for like 3 days and see how that goes. And then adjust from there. You can always rerun a post too, or a video as an ad. It just doesn't have to be that one time. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Let me get to my slide here. All right. I'm on Twitter and every other platform at WrestlingAndy, and you can also use the hashtag AskRedbeard if you'd want to follow up, and I'll be here after the talk. Thank you.
Okay, so next up on choosing the right platform for your business is Scott Stevens. And Scott Stevens is the principal behind BlogTender, a boutique content marketing firm in Lake Geneva. He was a former TV journalist and has more than 2 decades of electronic media marketing experience. He's also an award-winning author of 5 best-selling books. So welcome, Scott Stevens.
Thank you, Vanessa, and thank you, everyone. Appreciate you being here this morning, bright and early. This is my fuel, pardon me, but I'll be hitting that pretty frequently. BlogTender, when we began this venture a couple of years ago, it occurred to me that there weren't a lot of resources for small businesses that had questions about social media, about websites, and it goes back to where I started with Kemper Insurance a long time ago. Kemper Insurance doesn't exist anymore, by the way. Down in Long Grove. We were one of the first insurance companies to be out on the internet, and I said, don't count me in. I don't want a piece of this unless you're providing fresh content on a regular basis, because building a website is really the minimum price of admission. And the same goes with having a Facebook page. If you're not continuously populating it with fresh information, fresh original content, what's the point? You slump down in the Google rankings, your page ranking falls off the first page into the second or third or fifth, and people aren't seeing you when they are looking for your type of business and your type of content. So that's where this all began, really 2 decades ago, but then when I started with BlogTender, it was pretty imperative that small businesses get the message and have the resource to provide fresh content. Content is king. Andy is absolutely right in that video is where it's at. Video is very popular. Why do 85% of the people watch it with the volume off? Because they're at work. They're working for you. Right now they're sitting there watching their phones. Unfortunate, but true. But that also does represent a good opportunity to reach people, and video being the most effective format right now. I'm going to talk at treetops levels about all the different platforms, the ones I recommend to the clients in BlogTender, and then drill down on 6 specific things that you need to be doing. First of all, Facebook. Yeah, Facebook is pervasive, it's everywhere, and that's a good thing because that means you have an opportunity to reach people at a very, very low cost of investment. Main target here is, and I tell my clients this, if you're trying to reach the teenagers, first of all, they don't have any disposable income, and second of all, go to Snapchat. That's not something we focus on. We focus on people with disposable income, that people who make the buying decisions, and they're on Facebook. Most of the audience is over 30. The biggest glut right there is 25 to 34, but you'll find each age group beyond that is pretty well participating. 76% of them are female, 66% of the users, 76% of all female internet users have a Facebook account. So anybody who's logging into the internet, 76% of the women, they have a Facebook account. 66% of guys in that category. And 3 of 4 of the people using Facebook today have a high school or have an education beyond high school. So you're dealing with a very educated audience. These aren't the people who are looking at cat posters, okay? They're cute, and they share them a little bit, but we're talking about people who are making buying decisions and have the education and the background to do so. I love Facebook because, as Andy was talking about, it's highly targeted when it comes to a paid post. You are able to drill down before you make your post and identify the age group, the gender, the location, and the interests. And when you do the analytics at the end, you have an opportunity to go into your ad manager and see how well did I do with my targeting. We help all of our clients with their targeting, but in your case, if you're just looking at the people who come into your shop or the people you want to have come into your shop, those are the people that you need to be targeting. If you're looking at, typically, we have an auto supply, auto repair shop as one of our clients, and they wanted to target mostly men. And I said, well, there are a lot of other car drivers out there who don't have the Y chromosome, so we might want to rethink that. So we tweaked their targeting a little bit, and we built a couple of posts specifically on hail damage. We didn't post them right away. We waited until a hailstorm came, and then we posted them, and then we promoted them, and then boom, their business took off, mostly with the women who were reading the post. Because again, 76% of the internet users that are female have a Facebook page. Instagram is the baby brother of Facebook. If Facebook is your over 30 crowd, Instagram is heavily weighted to the under 30 crowd. That's not to say they don't have the buying power, but it's just a different age demographic. If you want to reach that under 30 crowd, you better be on Instagram. 53% of their users are under age 30. So keep that in mind. If your target audience is over 30, this probably isn't your platform. Twitter. I like Twitter a lot for the book business that I'm engaged in, but I don't think it is growing to the scale that they anticipated. However, Twitter bought a video platform a couple of years ago called Periscope because Twitter knows that video is where everything is going. So Twitter now has the ability to embed video in a tweet, and therefore they are a very viable platform, especially for the videos that we're creating. Periscope, by the way, it's like C-SPAN, okay? It's live streaming video. If you have an event like this one, it can go up on Periscope. Periscope, get it? See what I did there? And therefore, people can watch the entire presentation via Periscope. LinkedIn, if your target audience is business to business, LinkedIn is your place. Not the place for cat posters. Not the place for wedding planners, for example. Not a good platform for you. It would be an ideal platform if you're making the widget that another company needs to show your expertise, your engineering skills, etc. Having just the personal page is a great idea, but also have a business page so people can find you Yeah, a lot of places use it for recruitment and for attracting new talent to their organizations, which, if that's one of your goals, absolutely, you have the cream of the crop with the audience that you have on LinkedIn. YouTube, I'm glad you brought this up, Andy. YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world. Oh, wait, I thought that was just videos. Okay, if you're Googling something you want, okay, and this is where content is still king, the written word, that's, Walworth County is very grateful for that, because, oh, by the way, Google owns YouTube, so that's also playing into why it's #2. But if you're Googling something, you're finding information, you're finding written articles, you're finding some videos, but most of the people want to know, okay, just give me the video, so they'll go and search for it on YouTube, and that's how YouTube became the #2 search engine on the planet. Absolutely recommend YouTube for every one of you, and not many hands went up, said, I don't have anything on YouTube. The thought of doing your own video can be a little intimidating. For example, if you're using your phone and shooting vertical video, you're probably not ready for this. I'll tell you what, turn your camera this way, and you're better than half of the business owners out there, okay? What we have with video is an opportunity, especially with the expansion of YouTube into the space of a search engine with the help of its parent, Google, to further drive your brand out into the audience where they're looking for the information. And creating a video can be as simple as shooting something on your phone. There are a lot of strategies. Blog Tender uses high definition and 3D and lots of editing to keep a video moving along. You don't need that. The minimum price of admission is content, be original, be creative, and be brief, okay? If you're up on your soapbox talking for 20 minutes, if you're talking for even 5 minutes, you're about 3 minutes too long. 2-minute video is great length. Got to be over 1:10, just because in the search engine world, that is the trigger. By the way, if you're writing content, 300 words is the trigger to show up on a Google search. Anything under 300 words, Google's not going to bother with you in the search results. I'm giving away secrets, aren't I? Darn. That's what this is about, right? Pinterest, 80% of that audience is women. Okay, and it's a very visual-oriented social media platform. If you are in any type of decorating business, any type of home improvement business, people love those pictures. And you also have the ability to promote posts and promote pins, on the Pinterest. There are also rich dynamics in all of these, but rich analytics in all of these. But what I like best about Facebook is you can really drill down to see where your success was with this in reaching the people. I'm not able to get to your store and sell for you, but I can get through the targeting, I can get the right people to see your stuff. Your value proposition has to be there, or else what does it matter if people see it? Engagement is likes, that's a really fuzzy metric. If you got 5,000 likes, but you're not having many people engaged with your posts, you kind of missed the boat here. So what you want is people to like, share, comment. That share and the comment are what's going to drive you up in your visibility. And finding a niche, okay, let's say with my auto repair client, they wanted to target other detailers in the area. Yeah, they offered that service, but car washes and detailers. So they cross-promote on each other's platform. It's a good partnership for them to have, but it's an audience that, okay, you're going to wash your car every, I do it about once a year. But if you're washing your car on a regular basis and all of a sudden something comes up with your car, well, you've been frequenting this car wash, so now you're looking at also information on that car wash's Facebook page about the guy who's going to be able to repair your car when you hit a deer or had a hailstorm. So finding a good partner, a good niche to partner with is also an important part of building your Facebook presence. We had 6 topics here, but YouTube and this video thing, I've created thing called the Digital Dozen. There's some copies out on the table. I didn't hand them out. You can reach me at Scott@blogtender. That's blog-tender.com. Videos account for 80% of online consumer traffic by 2020. 8 billion videos are watched on Facebook every day. Are we working? What is going on? 500 million hours are watched on YouTube every day. Wow. Most of that's how-to stuff. If you've got an idea, even if your business isn't really how-to oriented, say you're a painter. You don't want the people doing it themselves, but you're going to show your expertise in that video on really why you need a painter, a professional one. 2 of 3 people who watch the first 6 seconds of a video watch the whole thing. This is a tactic that BlogTender uses. We create a 3D animation that lasts the first 6 seconds of the video. It's got to be engaging enough, but you're staying on that video, and then that's beyond that 6 seconds, then people begin to watch. 2 out of 3 of them watch the whole thing. So let's engage them for this first 6 seconds. Unless you're really, really, really funny or really, really good looking, and I'm neither of those, then you need to grab them in that first 6 seconds. And that's why we use the animation in the video on that first part. It's classy, it's high-end for the client of BlogTender and for your business. If you've got the tools to do it yourself, I'll tell you a couple of tools that I use. Aurora 3D, very easy to use. Very easy to use. You can create your own 3D graphics. I think the software package it downloads for $100 or so. Minimal amount of training, you can do your own 3D. Of course, it's not going to look as good as what BlogTender would do for you. But I'm giving you an idea here. This is one you can use. I also use Filmora as a video editor. Nobody gets it right on the first take, right? Man, I don't do it, and I used to work in TV. It's like, oh, I stumbled over that word, darn it. Well, how about editing that part out? I use Filmora film editor, or video editor, showing my age. Filmora is another $199 package. Gives you the opportunity to take segments. And I work with Waterworks over in Burlington. Very attractive marketing person there. Very good on camera, but cannot make it in one take to save her soul. So we break it apart. We show cutaways of the things that she's talking about, which is good. We have you out there working and making $250 an hour than making your own video. It's up to you though, and it's something that you need to seriously evaluate where YouTube fits in with your strategy, because video is the up-and-comer, and Facebook has staked its future growth on video as well. Right now and throughout the year, you're going to see Facebook 3D posts. I just saw one the other day on how they work, and those are more of a static picture where if you turn your mobile device left or right, the background moves a little bit. Kind of like if you have an Android device and you're shooting a panorama, and then you can go back and watch the panorama in action just by moving your phone like this. Very cool. Well, Facebook is updating their strategy to do 3D posts with the intention of adding virtual reality video down the path. So if you're experimenting with video now, you're going to be ready for that next wave, the next eye catcher, the next audience grabber. Written content. Video, minute 10, written content, 300 words or bigger, but have some personality in it. Have some personality. Don't be a goofball if you're not a goofball. Don't be all, if I wanted to watch Dan Rather deliver it all straight, I'd watch Dan Rather. Just be yourself. Have your personality. People want to know who they're doing business with. That still exists today as much as it did 40 years ago, 50 years ago. They want to see the face behind the business. Original content, please. No cutting and pasting. That's A, illegal, but B, it's not going to help your visibility. Yeah, it might be a great idea that I steal it or borrow it a little bit, or I tweak it a little bit, and might get away with that. But make sure that your content, your idea that you're expressing throughout the length of the video or the length of the article is an original thought. 3, be legal. those pictures that look really cool. Hey, this would look good in my article. If you don't own it, don't use it. There are plenty of options out there. Deposit Photos is one that I use. I buy the subscription. There are other subscription services out there. Make sure you're licensed to use an image or a soundtrack. Hey, I would love to have Van Halen's Amsterdam playing in the background of this video. Sweet idea. Van Halen's going to be really ticked that you did that. So use stuff that you have the license to use. Keep it legal. Keyword the heck out of everything. And this goes to something that Andy was talking about. 60% of the people on Facebook, they're not following a single page out there. They're just out there on Facebook, listening to what their friends have to say, checking up on their ex, doing other things with their Facebook account. But when they want to look something up, they're gonna type in that search area an idea. Chihuahuas. Okay, well, if you're a dog groomer, you better tag your article with hashtag Chihuahuas, and then you're going to show up in the search results. Okay, that is the way that you gain visibility across all these platforms. Hashtag, keyword things. Be frequent and consistent. Okay, let's do a post this month and then come back in 3 months and do another post. Great idea. At least you're doing something, but that's not nearly frequent enough. Bare minimum, I recommend that my clients give something fresh and original at least once every 2 weeks, if not every week. What I do with my weekly clients is it's posted on the same day of the week based on what I'm able to glean from the statistics on when their audience is most available. For my law firm client, I post every Friday at 6 a.m. And that way it's up and live, and when the audience is looking for legal advice on bankruptcy over the weekend, that content appears close to the top. Finally, be responsive. Somebody comments on your post, click, at a minimum, click like on it. Even if you don't like it, click like on it. And respond to these people. Watch your tongue. I've been a victim of this a few times, but always appreciate the comments, because not only are people engaged with your page, but that also increases the visibility article. The more engagement with that strategy with some of my clients is hashtag my reply. Thank you for your comments on hashtag dent repair. Boom. So I just helped that auto repair shop out again, because if somebody's searching for dent repair, boom, they just found my client.
Really excited about this portion of this educational series. The 3 driving fundamentals of a brilliant social media campaign is going to give you the opportunity to learn and network from some of the top digital marketing professionals in Walworth County. In my sector, I always hear people tell me that it seems like every other business on the planet is seeing success connecting with fans on Facebook, tweeting, uploading videos on YouTube. If you feel this way, you're not alone. A lot of other organizations feel like they haven't quite mastered social yet, or they might have trouble keeping up with the latest buzzwords or the latest trends. If you're feeling that way and scratching your head and wondering, can social media help grow my business? Yes, it can, and it's not too late to get on the action. So the people that you're going to hear from today are going to share some success stories that have worked right here in Walworth County. And they do a lot of things that you need to do to have a successful social media campaign, setting goals, choosing the best tools, monitoring their results. So in other words, we're just going to get started right away because there's a lot for you to learn during this session. And our first speaker is Andy Church, also known as Redbeard. And he's going to talk about choosing the right platform for your business. So that's a very important subject. So Andy is a digital marketing strategist for Geneva Services, which is a division of Geneva Supply. His specific areas of expertise include search engine optimization, Amazon marketing, social media, and paid advertising. He spent the last 13 years working in nonprofit healthcare marketing. He's also a production engineer for BizTank, which I see BizTank's represented here today, and a volunteer program that helps students get exposure to the world of business. So welcome, Andy.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
All right, let me cue up my presentation.
You may have indirectly answered this, but the 300-word content target that you reference, is that for a blog or a Facebook? Because I've learned that people don't take a long time to read things, so you just got to keep it brief. So is the 300 words referring to blogs, Facebook, or both?
It's both.
So really, the 300 words is better from an engagement.
Your first paragraph better have your keywords in there.
Right.
For one thing, and that's one of the fundamentals of SEO, search engine optimization, is to keep your keywords close to the top of the article. When you have a longer form article like that, what we do is we do a hub and a spoke. We create everything on Blogger, which is a Google product. That's why we do it. And we spoke it out to the different social media platforms. And that article, an entire article, isn't going to show just that first 100 words or so.
Keywords.
And then you'll be able to click on to follow it.
Got
But
it.
we're creating the article itself at 300 words, at least.
Okay.
Longer form content is coming back, but you really have to have an appetite for that. I don't think a lot of my clients' audience has an appetite for that. That's more of a education, more of a political thing than it is a consumer thing. Oh, we'll take questions after because Sherry says I talk too much. Thanks, everybody.
So I'm going to segue on to the next portion of our seminar and talking about prioritizing social media and how social media actually pays off. Our first speaker who's setting up is Matthew Olson. Matthew Olson is the founder of Signal Fire, a Delavan-based creative agency specializing in destination and tourism-related marketing, including chambers, CVBs, lodging, adventure centers, and restaurants. The Signal Fire team has been successfully managing tourism and event social media since 2009. So, when he's all ready.
I'm a wanderer. Thank you, and thank you for everyone coming in here. Can everyone do me a favor? Everybody stand up. Get some blood flowing. Because if you don't get up and get blood flowing, I guarantee I'm going to put you to sleep. If you haven't introduced yourself to your neighbors, let's do the church thing. Introduce yourselves. Everybody knows each other. Thank you again for the opportunity to talk to you today. Again, my name is Matthew Olson. My company's name is Signal Fire. We are a creative marketing agency right here in Delavan. We like to style ourselves as your creative marketing guides and outfitters. Long story short is if you've ever taken an adventure in the wilderness, and believe me, business marketing is an adventure in the wilderness, having the right guides and the right equipment can go a long way. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the whole idea of how do you use social media so it actually pays off. And with that in mind, I have a kind of sideways joke that I like to say, hey, just put it on your tab. Targeted, authentic, and budgeted. Whenever you're looking at your social media, you're always going to be asking the three dreaded letters that us marketers hate to hear. Well, what's the ROI on this? You know, I once replied to a bank that they didn't like it so much when I asked them, well, how well did you track the ROI on your phone books? The good news is that with social media, you can track a lot of this. And ultimately, where we start getting into it is how does social media fit into your overall marketing plan? Because ultimately, you're talking about one tool in your toolbox. You do not want to be stuck as a one-trick pony. And looking at that from the standpoint of how can your business become even more impactful, social media is a great channel. So when you look at this, and I apologize for those in the back, I probably shouldn't have put so much of a background on this graphic, is we really see that social media is actually just one part of a larger social program, or excuse me, a larger marketing program. You'll have social media. You'll have very critical content on your blog posts. Email marketing. Direct mail is not dead, it's just being refined. And ultimately, search engines. All of these like to work together to drive traffic to your website, to your video, promoting your events, your blog, ultimately your purchasing funnel. And so all of these things, social media being key to them, they are vehicles. Your website and your brand is the destination. And good content, like Scott mentioned, is the fuel for those vehicles. So the more you can put good content together for your social media on your website, faster and more efficient your marketing engine will run. So getting into the specifics of social media, I have to say that we need to spend more time saying, what does social media not do? Specifically, what doesn't it do? Social media, good, effective impact does not happen overnight. We have a fantastic client getting started right now who said, man, we just started this last week. Why aren't I seeing everything change? Well, we started last week. There's only so much 25 likes on your page can do. And it doesn't come easy. Social media is an entirely separate channel for your marketing. You need to put time, energy, and ultimately content involved in it. And as we start getting into the whole idea of targeted, authentic, and budgeted, understanding that the budgeting part is becoming more and more critical to how you operate. So don't dive into social media with the idea that, oh, I'm just going to throw $50 behind this Facebook post and I'm going to get $20,000 worth of sales. If you do, let me know. I'd love to know what kind of targeting you use. But ultimately, looking at how you put your social media together is going to say, for every little bit of planning you do, you're going to reap a far greater reward. But what does social media really do? Social media ultimately is social. We love to get wrapped up in the whole idea of the business application. We love to get an idea of what we can do for targeting dynamics. But ultimately, never forget that social media is in the title. Social. Scott mentioned and Andy mentioned earlier, this is an engagement platform. There is no space for wallflowers in social media. So if you're not happy to get your hands dirty, you're not happy to go in and comment and like and engage and get back and forth with people, this might not be the platform for you. Ultimately, social media can do a phenomenal job of generating brand awareness. And ultimately, that's probably what should ultimately almost be the cornerstone of how you're using social media. Understanding that Facebook has 2 billion users. With their ad targeting metrics that you're able to dive into, you can get down to saying, hey, I am interested in someone who is interested in rail trains. Okay, I'm pulling that completely out of the air. Don't anyone quiz me on that. But you're going to find people who are interested. It doesn't matter if you are B2B or B2C. Quick show of hands. How many of you are B2C in this room? How many of you are B2B? Be honest, how many of you don't know the difference? B2B being business to business, B2C being business to consumer. Both have a fantastic place on social media. Again, platforms may differ. As much as everyone loves to say, hey, B2C is fantastic with Facebook, things like that, for you B2B marketers out there, don't be afraid of Facebook. Because how many small businesses are probably not on LinkedIn? How many small businesses are just getting started? they're based on interest. Don't ignore Facebook. Versus you B2C marketers out there, don't ignore LinkedIn, because even business owners need to buy things once in a while too. Ultimately, this comes together to create what we call convertible traffic. As we talked about with that graphic of all this traffic coming to your website, that's ultimately where they're going to convert. While you can do some sales on social media, as the platforms evolve as an actual sales platform, ultimately the actual conversion is going to be on your website. So ultimately, you want well-fueled marketing vehicles coming to your website so they can become customers, clients, and hopefully repeat vendors. One of the things that we also look at is, let's not forget why people engage with businesses on social media. I probably should have blown this up a little bit larger, but one of the top reasons people are engaging right now is flat out, the businesses are responding to them. People are getting their questions answered. That's going to lead to a much higher conversion than if you're just going to say, oh, yeah, here's our Facebook page. Come like it. After you like it, we're going to forget you. Don't leave them hanging. Good content is going to be critical around being responsive. You'll see some of the other things. Offering promotions. Yes, everybody loves a discount, and that's one of the big things that lure people to social media. But don't make it a race to the bottom. Providing educational content, sharing interesting visuals, being funny. The one coming here at the bottom, trash talking, competing brands. Yesterday, IHOP, I'm changing it to IHOB. But one of the things that came out of that I thought was very entertaining is how all the other brands jumped on that, especially Burger King temporarily changing itself to Pancake King. Another great example of some of the things that go back and forth, and think about this with your own business, is the whole idea of, gentleman put on there, my wife came home with off-brand Pop-Tarts. We've talked about this. We've been avoiding the topic. I just don't know if I can continue. Pop-Tarts was paying attention and promptly replied, some marriages aren't worth saving. So making sure that you're being social on social media is going to be critical. So understand that social media is a consumer conduit. It is a touch point. It is a way to engage. And engaging with individuals is really going to be becoming a contact sport. Like I said, there are no wallflowers in social media. So as we look at this and say, okay, how do I start running up a tab? Targeted, authentic, and budgeted. So what does that mean? As Andy and Scott and the others will talk about, that social media has really expanded itself with a paid way to get in front of more people. And just saying, hey, I want to be put in front of all 2 billion Facebook users. I want to be put in front of all 800 million Instagram users. You know what? That's nice and all, but how many of you would actually be relevant to all of those people? So you have the ability to start targeting in and focusing in on the people who matter to you. You mentioned an auto detail earlier. What are you doing to get in front of people who are car collectors? What are you doing to get in front of people who are road trip enthusiasts? I know that there's at least one off-roader in the room. That you look at repairing vehicles, things like that are important to them. So you have the ability to put together an ad campaign based on your social posts that are specifically focused. And while it sounds fantastic for B2C clients, it's even more fantastic for B2B clients. So let's say you are a precision injection molding company that specifically creates OEM parts for the slot machine industry. Well, let's say you want to put together why your injection molding and tight tolerances are better than anybody else in the industry, but you're only going to want to put that ad in front of engineers, purchasing specialists within that industry. LinkedIn allows you to target things almost to a minute granular level. Sometimes we refer to this as hyper-targeting. And so as you talk about generating content, start look. I think we died.
Your time's up.
Yeah. In so many ways. Thankfully, I have a dad voice. So start looking around and start identifying who are the influencers. Who are the people that are participating in the social media? Because ultimately, social media isn't an audience. You are all graciously sitting there patiently as an audience, as I pontificate down to you. But that's not how social media works. Social media is very much a community. It's a conversation. Nobody is above another. So go into that community and look, identify the people who carry the most weight, have the most authority in social media. And rather than try to lecture them, embrace them. Probably one of the best tools you can use right now in social media marketing is influencer marketing. Find those people that are the traveling mom who has 20,000 Instagram followers. Have you tried to connect with them? Probably one of the most powerful tools right now in social media is on Instagram. And if you look on your phone, in the top right corner, you see the ability to send a direct message. And receiving a direct message on Instagram right now is kind of like, do you remember being in middle school? I think it's safe to say when all of us, it was pre-internet, and you got a letter. Oh, I got a letter from my friend. That right now is the same equivalent of what you have with direct messaging. The same is true for Twitter. Be careful, there's a lot of spam on Twitter. Same is true for LinkedIn. Also be careful, because if one more investment person tries to DM me on LinkedIn, boy, are they going to be disappointed when they see my bank account. Those are the kind of things that can be a fantastic way to introduce yourself to influencers and ultimately connect with them. Because that community is what ties them together. Look at the different social media platforms. We've had two fantastic speakers talking about the pros and cons of the different platforms. Those pros and cons also should weigh into the fact of where is most of the conversation happening with social media. When are they most active? So much of the ad targeting, yes, you can go run it, be afraid to target the timing of your organic social media posts. Target who you're sending things to. If you don't know how to target, experiment. Thankfully, the buy-in for so much of social media advertising right now is as cheap as you can possibly imagine. Authentic. Scott hit this really well. Don't be someone you're not. Don't let your brand be something it's not. Understanding what your brand voice is going to probably be one of the first things you do when you're setting up your social media. Do you refer to yourself in the third person? Do you like to make jokes? I warn you, if anyone has a conversation with me, I am known for really bad dad jokes. Make sure your message is real and authentic. Are you platform specific? Specific. But don't say, hey, everybody is there, so I need to be everywhere. No, you don't. Understand who you're targeting and go where the eyeballs are. There was a bank robber in the 1920s and said, well, why do you rob banks? Well, that's where the money is. Same process with social media. Go where the eyeballs are. But also understand, just as we talked about, that there's no such thing as an audience in social media. Don't get stuck doing nothing but broadcasting. How many of you remember CB radios? It's on. What would happen if you held the CB radio button down? You'd be broadcasting, transmitting. Downside is, can anybody else get a word in? Nope. So you have to take the time to listen. And so understand the difference between having conversations and just standing up there and broadcasting. Just out of a quick question, how many of you have heard of, there's a social media and marketing speaker out there, Gary Vaynerchuk? Fantastic speaker. You really need to have a fairly high vulgarity tolerance with him. However, he has a very fantastic principle with this called jab, 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 right hook. Now, you should not be punching your customers. However, the process is very simple, that you give, and you ask. So you want to look at social media not necessarily as don't be constantly asking. We work with a fair number of nonprofits, and one of the biggest things to say is don't ask every day. Only about 10% of your posts should be asking for a nonprofit. However, for a business, you may even want to knock that down a little bit. What is going to be helpful and beneficial for your community? And look at being seen as a resource. Budgeting. One of the things that we've talked about is, regretfully, social media just doesn't have the legs it used to. It's getting older. But the budget for reaching is still phenomenally low. You can have a fantastic, very well-targeted Facebook campaign for $50. You can have hyper-targeted, foot in the door with LinkedIn for probably $100 or $200. And while initially you're going to look at that and say, social media is supposed to be free. Well, what would it cost you to get in front of every C-suite manufacturer in Wisconsin if you tried it via direct mail? And when you start comparing the cost of marketing that was versus marketing that is, you're going to see that social media really is as dirt cheap as it matters. But that's only part of the battle. You do need great graphics. Shameless plug, we're also graphics. But ultimately, the data never lies. Make sure you review your data on a regular basis and make sure your data drives decisions. Yes, there are a lot of business owners that have infallible intuition, fantastic forecasting abilities, and really know their industry inside and out, but ultimately never lose sight of the data. Finally, listen a lot. And you guys have listened to me fantastically well. I wish my boys would listen as well as you guys do. But listen to your community. What are they talking about? What are the trends that they see? Ask their opinion. Engage with them. And ultimately, they're going to pick up the tab for you. Thank you very much. I know I'm running a little bit over. Any questions at the end? Okay.
All right. I'm currently more of a doer than a go out and sell ability to do social media, so I'm going to go through some nuts and bolts stuff with you if you don't mind. But I want to start by kind of a funny story. In 2016, we started Elkhorn Rib Fest. We were hoping for around 2,500 people to show up to the festival, and we ended up with about 25,000. 2 weeks before the event, Facebook sent me a notification that no one else could be invited on Facebook to the Rib Fest event page. So I posted that. and I sent a complaint into Facebook. And they called me. I don't know how many of you have gotten phone calls from Facebook. That's kind of weird. So they said they stopped it because it was growing so fast. Their computers slowed it down and stopped it because they wanted to make sure that it was legit, that it wasn't some sort of spam thing, or they didn't know what it was. So anyway, they started it up even before I talked to them. So anyway, so this is being recorded, and this slideshow I'll make available, or I'm sure you guys will make available to anybody. So I'm going to run through some stuff pretty quick. Who out here is doing lookalike audience marketing on Facebook? Okay, for those that aren't, I'm going to run through some slides real quick. You can grab this slideshow or the video, go home and slow it down and look at each one. And instead of describing everything, I'm just going to run through it quick. Is that cool? Okay. That's where you find it on your ad manager. That's what you hit there. You hit that phase, that's how you pick out similarities to your audience. Geography, interests. Okay, that's it. So go back and look at that if you want to learn how to do lookalike marketing. It's some of the most effective types of advertising you can do on Facebook, I promise you. All right. And the reason it is that Facebook allows you to target people who do not follow or like your Facebook page, that have similar interests, that visit your website, okay, that haven't been to your website. So if we've got, say, 500 people or 5,000 people that visit your website, there's still a big audience out there that you're not attracting. How do I get to them? That's what lookalike does. It looks at those people that go to your website or go to your Facebook page, and it finds people with similar interests and similar purchase, all of those sorts of things, and allows you to put ads in front of them of your product. It's one of the fastest ways to increase awareness of your company. Okay? That's why you do it. All right. So let's get started here. I'll make one comment. This is a local thing. I'm sure it's kind of political, but reality is reality. Some folks came to me about a year or so ago that were interested in building some new athletic fields and a new field house in Elkhorn. And what do they do to promote that? They wanted a referendum. I think it's a $24 million or $22 million referendum. What do we do? Who do we target? Their idea was to make sure that the young parents get out there and vote. Well, that wasn't their, no, they're already going to vote for it, right? Who do you need to convince? You need to raise that age limit and find a compelling way to help those people logically get through voting for a $22 or $24 million referendum for the school. Leave a legacy behind or whatever it is. So Elkhorn passed that referendum. They got a field house like a university. Now, all of that. I know another community who had a referendum that didn't pass it, and they're closing an elementary school here in this county. We're all aware of that. So targeting has big impact. Okay? All right, so anyway. Oh, be brutal. I don't follow social media rules, really. I don't read about it. I just know from experience with our page. But when we do advertising, people can be mean as heck. And they can say things that will damage your business. And I don't allow it. We ban words, of course. We all probably ban words on our Facebook page, right? Everybody do that? Okay. I'll give you an example. We have a Mexican food festival coming up at the end of June. It's called Mole Fest. We've got 30,000 people that are interested or going to that event, first year, which means it's as big as Rib Fest last year already. But on the advertising, we have people commenting there's going to be an ice raid at the festival. We have people saying, speak English. Okay? I delete them. I ban them and I delete them. They're not allowed to participate in any conversation with anyone. First of all, it's racist. Second of all, it'll damage the event. Can you imagine the chatter going on about a potential ice raid at a Mexican food festival? when 80% of the audience coming to this thing are Hispanic. I mean, we're not going to let any idiot damage what a good thing. So be brutal. I get so nervous I can't even pour water. Whose laptop is this? Get it out of here. All right. Sesame Street. We've got Sesame Street coming to the fair this year for an afternoon show on Saturday during the fair. Some lady's angry. This is an example of sometimes your followers or people will solve your problem for you. People start like, who's angry about Sesame Street they're posting? You know, it's like, I don't know. Who is this lady? What's going on? She's an idiot. It's like when we had Skillet for a concert at the fair, kind of a heavier Christian rock band. Somebody put on their music sucks. That person was brutalized by Skillet fans. It's kind of fun to watch. So, what's the difference between marketing and advertising? All right. To me, my definition, marketing are the things that you do to engage your customers, how you treat them when they get there, what your brand is. You know, some customer comes in, you give them a bag of popcorn. That's marketing, you know. Advertising is a different thing. Advertising is what I do when I expect an immediate purchase response. And this is what we're going to talk about, is advertising. Okay? That's why they call it an ad manager. It may be good for building brands, but it's better for getting people to buy things. And by the way, our Facebook page is a two-person team. One person does the great fun content that jokes about cows at the fair and those sorts of things. And I do the marketing, and I do the event management. So I'm going to talk about my side of the room. Okay. Unless you're a plumber, an electrician, a welder, or a pole barn builder, or any other business where there isn't enough competition and there's too much business to be had, social media is either going to help you or it's going to crush you. It's not a matter of if you're going to get crushed, it's a matter of when. And it started crushing you the first day that your business owner or boss or whoever said, I don't do Facebook. It started that day. Facebook's taken over the world. They even now have partner network sites when you advertise with them. Your ad might not just show up on Facebook or Instagram, it's going to show up on USA Today. Okay? All right. These guys are all right. Your posts aren't going to be seen. Organic following is dead. It's been dead for a while. If you want anybody to see anything on Facebook, you got to pay for it. Okay? And please forget all the stock market moving crap about Facebook and privacy and all of it. Your copy machine in your office is probably giving up more data about you through job applications and scanning. It saves all of it. You know, how many people scrub their copier before they throw it in the dump pile? They're all connected by phone line too, right? Worry about that stuff. Facebook's the largest, not by a little, by a lot. I know you can't read this. Facebook, YouTube, second one like you said. Facebook, Instagram, and I don't know what else. But these, right, and YouTube is more like a search engine thing. The social media-wise, Facebook and Instagram pretty much own the planet. If you want to reach kids, these guys are right. Twitter, this is a neat slide you can look at how to reach, this is saying how to reach kids, Instagram and Twitter. If you want to reach millennials, Facebook and Instagram. All right, so this is probably worldwide, but WhatsApp is owned by Facebook, Messenger is owned by Facebook, and Instagram is owned by Facebook. And these networking apps, that's how many people have. So they have 3 of the top 4. Facebook owns them and your ads will hit them. So let's say a lake has 100 fish in it. That's it. There's only 100. Those 100 fish like certain types of food. 63 out of the 100 like Facebook as food. 47 use Messenger, 27 use Instagram, and 22 use Twitter. To put it in perspective, Facebook owns the top 3. Okay. David Ogilvy wrote this book in 1985. I bought it for a digital marketing executive that came in to try and do business with us and gave it to her. It was written, David Ogilvy, does anybody know who he is? He's the father of modern day advertising. Before the internet, newspaper, TV, radio, that's what he did. But the key to all media, social marketing, and all of that, those elements are in this book. You need to be able to know about your content. What's compelling? What are you asking a consumer to do? Where are you trying to direct them? And then how do you do it? Visually, with words, those sorts of things. It's a great book. It's easy to read. You'll read it in an hour or 2. And then you'll want to know more. I think it was $27 on Amazon. Okay. Sorry, Lake. This is a funny story about these guys. Okay. Sorry, Lake 96.1. In spring mix 91 came to give me these maps. And, they're compelling. They're the #1 radio station in Milwaukee for women 25 to 54 years old. It's a big audience for the fairgrounds. They wanted to charge me for social media posts, to post on their Facebook page. $1,500 for like 5 posts. They're not boosted, they're nothing. I said, I tell you what, why don't we trade? We've got more people that follow us on Facebook than you do. We'll advertise your station, okay? Also, when we do some digital advertising, retargeting, those sorts of things, and we talk about where do we want to drive the consumer to our website? Is that what we want? Sometimes we drive it to the Facebook event page, because I think that the number of people that are going to an event or interested in an event is a selling point. When you go to an event page and you've got 52,000 people interested or going to an event, that catches your eye, right? What's so great about this, right? How long am I? You good? Okay, nuts and bolts. Who uses Ad Manager instead of just boosting? Okay, if you don't, here's some kind of how-tos. I just did, this map here is kind of just outside of Milwaukee, just north of Chicago, Janesville to kind of Kenosha. How many people on Facebook have Facebook accounts? Potential reach, 970,000 people. Okay? How many of them like food festivals? You want targeted interest, get very specific, because I want some people to come to RipFest, or you want them to come to your hardware store. How many are interested in food? Only 1,500. That's not enough to advertise a festival where we want 100,000 people to go, right? So what about the music at the festival? This is how many people like the band Journey. Oh, there's 66,000 within that radius of like Journey. So I can work with that. Boston, Kiss, Led Zeppelin. We've got bands that are playing that kind of music at the festival. Yeah, I'll target that. Now I'm up to 110,000 people. Let's say you're a boat dealer and you want to sell water skis. 2,900 people in this that have an interest in water skiing. That's not enough. What about wakeboarding and water skiing? Oh, now you're at 8,600 people. Pretty targeted, that's cool. Let's say you're a boat dealer and you want to sell boats. I put in every manufacturer of boats I can think of, and I came up with 2,500 people in that area. That's all. But when I add pontoon boats, it jumps to 8,400. So just fool around with that stuff on the interest until you kind of find what you're looking for. Here's antiques, 54,000 people. Architecture and design, 29,000. Do-it-yourselfers, Home Depot, buyer, that kind of stuff. 280,000 of them. If you're, let's say that you're a carpenter or something, you can do a how-to video, make it more complicated than what it needs to be, and have hope that they call you. 490,000 homeowners. Okay. If you ever use Ad Managers, here's it is. This is my sort of home news feed. Ad Manager's down there in the bottom left. Click it. This is kind of what you get. You hit create on the far left side. You pick out what you want that ad to do. For me, I want engagement, which means post engagements, page likes, or event responses. I use event responses every time, but that's our business. Where do you want to target? Right there. You type in the geography you want. And it'll bring up the map, and you can circle it just around Delaware, or just around Lake Geneva, or just in town. Your daily budget or a lifetime. I do a lifetime budget. I got a budget, but I'm gonna start slow. There's a little trick to this. I use lifetime. I'm gonna get further into that. Well, I'll just do it. So when you start an ad campaign, let's say I've got $1,500 to spend on an ad. There's a couple things I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start slow, and I'm gonna do 2 different ads. I'm gonna do A/B testing. Who does that? Great. You got the same ad, same headline, same everything, but a different image. For Ribfest, I started out with a cute girl cooking ribs on a grill. And then I had another one of a very large black man making ribs. Did A/B testing, which one did better? The big, large black man did way better. So it became the focus of our ads. But I only spent like $20 on each ad to see how it worked. And once Facebook's algorithms get you to over 100 people who have responded to your ad, right? Their system does much better. Now it knows who to target. Facebook is better at targeting than you are. They're going to target people who are likely to respond. If you don't put an interest in there at all, and you just start small, Facebook will find them. Okay? And that's scary. It's like skydiving. Okay? But anyway, just a thought. So that's where you do your budget. Exclude people. Who excludes people in their advertising? You want to save money? Exclude people. Ribfest, we didn't advertise to anyone, and this isn't racist, there's a reason. Anyone Muslim or related strongly to Islam or Orthodox Jewish. Why? Right. Saved a lot of money. I mean, it cut a lot of people out. I didn't have to pay. But think about your business and who I don't want. What interest do they have? And they've cut back on a lot of the things you could exclude because they think you're being racist. Okay, if you're doing an event marketing or advertising and you get to the creative part, don't worry about putting an image up there. You'll see at the top. What image do you want? Don't do that yet. Go down to choose the event you want to promote, because it'll erase everything you started with up above unless you do that first. You'll learn it one time and you won't do it again. Okay. And then, okay, this is just uploading a video. Put your headline in. Your pixel, these guys talked about. We use it to trap people going to our website, buy tickets. We also use them to retarget people. You know that when you shop for a new pair of pants, and then you go to the Milwaukee newspaper, and then there's an ad for the same pants. How'd that happen? It's called retargeting. It's creepy, but they're tracking you with your IP address, right? We do it all the time. You guys do it. Okay. I don't have speakers. I'm kind of bummed, because I was going to show you some video ads that we did. Oh, somebody asked about analytics too. If you go back to your, well, I don't have the.
I think you answered all my questions.
Okay, great. I think that means shut up when you're done talking. But there are ways to do the geography, to look at how many people from where. I mean, I know our customers are 40% Milwaukee, 20% south of the border. The rest are kind of in the area. I mean, there's all kinds of neat stuff you can find. The way the audio works. All right, go to our Facebook page. You can see these ads.
Audio out doesn't work with the HDMI.
That's one of them. Well, anyway, that's that. See you, Rick.
You guys can move the microphone. It's coming out. There we go. Got it. Hello. So, good morning. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. And was excited when Vanessa asked me to cover some cool tools. We have a computer club in East Troy that's gotten a decent following for what it's worth. And usually one of the co-organizers is the one who does all the cool tool stuff. So to be honest, this really isn't even kind of my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is the web and trying to make the web a better place and some other stuff. So I'm going to kind of cheat, and I'm probably going to tell you that everything you just heard was wrong, and everything that I'm about to say is probably super wrong too, so maybe you don't even believe what I'm about to say. But on that note, here's my opening quote. And this is really, I think, the biggest takeaway that I could give you this morning, is that if you don't like changing whatever it is that you're working on or doing, you are going to like getting wiped out by your competition worse. Because there are people that are probably smarter than you and better than you that know more about the web or Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or affiliate marketing or whatever it is that you're not doing. And that's super scary. This is a quote from Jeff Bezos, who, to be honest, I put Benjamin Franklin probably, but it wasn't really him. But Jeff Bezos, love him or hate him or use Amazon or not, he's kind of taken something from nothing in a very short period of time and knocked it out of the park, doing not even the thing they sought out to do in the first place. Amazon was originally going to sell books. They are a technology company now. McDonald's wanted to make hamburgers. They are a real estate company now. So the byproduct of the thing that you do ends up being the thing that actually makes you money. And if you're not doing or focusing on the thing that is your waste product, I just watched it talk. It's all about targeting your market, and that is still true. However, it's news websites all the way through making videos, building a website. You can do these things. And to be honest, I think a lot of us probably made our careers or our professions or our reputations doing that, paving the way, building the thing, smashing your head up against the problem until you solve it, move on to the next problem, and now we're business owners and contributors in the community, and we have employees, we're making money, and all these things. And that works for a little bit, but eventually you run out of stuff. You run out of steam, you run out of energy, and there are an infinite number of problems that you are going to have to solve. You will not have the bandwidth to solve on your own. Own your competency. Again, I'm going to tell you something that probably most people didn't say, but you need a website. You need one. You have to have one. Other people are going to say don't do it and just use Facebook, and there are businesses I know of that are friends of mine who don't have a website, hugely successful on Facebook, totally fine with that. I get it. The problem is that Facebook hates you. They do. They are going to take everything they know about you, and they're going to use it against you in order to do whatever it is that they want to do, and whatever everyone else in the room is trying to do too. You have your business set up to sell whatever it is. Every other person is going to target you out and target someone else in. You're working against you, and then you're bidding on that with money that is just burnt out the tailpipe. The website is yours forever. You own the content. You decide what you do with it. No one gets to tell you what you can't do with your own website. And that is why your own website will outlast whatever Facebook or whatever comes after it. You need your own website. I don't care if it's a personal brand for a blog. I don't care if it's your entire business. I don't care if you're brewing beer, if you're a dentist, if you're a car dealership. It doesn't matter. You have to have a website. You might not want one. You might not want to maintain one. You absolutely have to have a website. That's sort of my shameless plug for WordPress, which is how I got my career. And so I will use myself as an example of how sort of organic marketing isn't really dead, because if it didn't work, I wouldn't have a job. I wouldn't be traveling the world talking about it, because I was able to find my niche, my audience, my people, and turn that into a relatively successful career, making cool stuff on the web and trying to keep it a free and open place, although net neutrality is over and done with as of Monday, so that's super sad. But states are figuring out how to block it and trying to do something better, so I'm breaking my own heart. So, as of April of last year, 242 votes decided that I was going to be one of 7 elected officials in the village of East Troy, Wisconsin. And so I am involved in local government now. And so, because I work from home, I have a remote job. It's been my way of doing stuff for the past 10 years. It's real easy for me to get distracted and try and do stuff wherever I am supposed to be working in the neighborhood that I live. And so, what is the most surprising to me, and what I have learned, is when your local government is functioning in a healthy way, you can get some really cool stuff done. Like, there are places where, and I have seen them firsthand, that are not super healthy. They are not cooperative, they are not looking out for you, they are maybe not even looking out for each other. Definitely usually looking out for themselves. But with the administration that we have right now in the village, we're kind of getting some awesome stuff done. Businesses are coming, existing businesses are thriving, we're spending some money on capital projects, making stuff look better and feel better. I know Lake Geneva just spent a bunch of money on water stuff. East Troy, we just spent $1 million digging up 100-year-old water mains. It doesn't sound like a lot, but in the end of the day, those upgraded water mains will mean that businesses can invest in their buildings again, because they weren't going to, because if a fire broke out, their building was just going to burn down. Now their building's not going to burn down. How novel is that? But at the same time, there are loan funds that are available from groups like Waseda, or East Troy has one that they help manage with Waseda to help local businesses thrive or flourish or get bigger or improve themselves. And so we've spent $1.2 million on local businesses on low interest 7-year loans in order to spike the local economy, to get companies and businesses working the way that we think, or that they think, are going to be the most effective for East Troy. And so it doesn't sound like a cool tool, but your government is there to help you. They represent you. In these loan meetings, I am there to represent our citizens. Me, of all people, holy crap. But, you know, they're not allowed there, so I'm there to make sure that people that are deciding, are they credible, are they worthy, is this a good idea, I'm there to be able to tell them, this is how long they've been in the community, this is why we think that, this is why we believe in their vision, this is why we're going to give them $1 million in order to make their business successful. So if you need some money, there are people out there that might actually give it to you. It's a little surprising, but we're happy to do that. Local groups. Now, in the village of East Troy, there are a ton of local groups, and they want not only to help you, but they also need membership. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Kiwanis or the Lions Club or some of these folks in East Troy. The Lions Club is like a super huge deal. They donated the library a ton of years ago, the bandstand that's there, the baseball diamond and parks. They do the 4th of July parade, which if you've ever been to East Troy, the 4th of July parade is a big deal. It's like 13,000 people for a parade. It's ridiculous. But they put on all of these events. And they're a volunteer community that does fundraisers for themselves. And they are, to be honest, an aging group of like old white dudes. And they need young white dudes, or they need young any color dudes in order to make the Lions Club continue to be awesome. And so, I specifically went to a Lions Club meeting, so I was like, I know that you exist, and I know what the Lions Club is, and I know that you're in the Lions Club, but I've never been to a meeting. I should go. You do all this stuff for the village. Why can't I attend one meeting? It's not like they were pushy. They weren't trying to bring you in. They weren't trying to ask you for money. They were just, what do you do? Who are you? And there was nobody in the room that was probably under 55. And this is the same thing with, to be honest, in the East Troy municipal area, our airport is a municipal airport. Finding young people that want to fly or that are willing to spend the money to learn how to fly an airplane is impossible. It's just too expensive. Most people are priced out of the ability to fly. But flying is kind of super fun, aside from being like wholly independent and like the most amazing thing you could ever do on your own ever, if you have an airplane, you can get to Atlanta in an hour. If what you have is a business and you need to get to Atlanta in an hour, there's no better way than to have your own airplane to get there. And there are people in East Troy that do that for their businesses now, because they have learned that saving that time, getting home and back in a day, actually makes good business sense for them. Sounds a little silly, it's 100% true though. And so one of the things that I do on the village board is everyone that's on our East Troy village board is appointed to some position in the village. And so for a while I was on the library board, there's Parks and Recreation, our airport, and so on. So I have learned a lot about our airport because I'm the chairman of an airport and I can't fly, and I've flown all over the place, but I'm not piloting an airplane myself. What do I know about running an airport? But the local government side of it, when it's working well, is kind of the most amazing thing to watch happen. Politically, we were political earlier, so where everyone lies, it's up to you. But I felt like it was sort of had to do something where I lived in order to try and make things a better place. It's sort of why I helped make WordPress. It's open source, it's free. It helps people publish to the web, uncensored, owning your own content. There are lots of things that sort of agree with the things that I think are important. So giving back to my local community, being here for the 20 minutes I've got, is important to me. And so I want to share whatever I think I know. It's up to you to decide if it matters or not. So local businesses kind of go back to what I had talked about before. Trust your competency. There are people that are near you that want to do the stuff that you don't want to do, and they'll probably help you out if for some reason you live next to one another. How many friends did you have growing up that were kind of just friends by proximity? You were not friends because you liked them. You were just friends because they were next to you. And so, take advantage of the people that, as an adult, we're all still kind of doing the same thing. There are neighbors that you're friends with that you wouldn't choose to like, but you're going to like them because they're close to you. So, find the people that want to take photos. Find the people that want to do video. Find the people that want to build websites or give talks or whatever else, and leverage those businesses and those people. They are your best resource. They are the best tool that you have in your tool belt. And then, sort of back to the beginning, is always be changing. The ABCs of doing all this. You need to switch up the stuff that you're doing, because eventually people are going to move on to the next cool thing, and it depends on what your target market is. Maybe you can stick with the old thing. It's possible you can be 100% dependent on Facebook and totally fine. Our dog groomer is that way. I know bars that are in East Troy that don't want a website, that only want Facebook because they can engage with everyone the way that they want. Eventually, it might not be tomorrow, but the clock's going to run out on that. And if they don't have a website, and they don't have a following that is theirs, that they own, that they can reach out to people for, someone else is going to own it, and they're going to take it away. We've seen it happen through the history of the web. Or, to be honest, and this is just me talking here, developers are going to ruin the internet. Just like we ruined radio, just like we ruined television, we're going to ruin the internet with ads. Ads all over the place. They suck. They're so terrible. And every time that someone's trying to sell or spend money on ads, there are organizations like Mozilla or Apple, trying to take ads away from you, trying to block tracking pixels, trying to block all of this stuff because people are worried about internet privacy. To dump so much into a platform that you do not own, that you have no real sense of influence over, and have that just decide what it wants to be time and time again, is super, super risky, honestly. It's easy. You'll get a quick turnaround. You'll see results. That's what they want you to see. Facebook, Google SEO, they want you to see results. They want you to go, oh, extra 100 hits, that's great. It means nothing, though, because it hasn't converted into something. The organic relationships that you have, the local relationships that you have with people that are in your corner by default because they're next to you, are the coolest tools you have. Like, this is the best slogan that I grew up with. We're talking about Sesame Street. This is what I remember from my childhood, is to be nice to the people that are around you and near you, and to use them and to be useful to them. If I don't really build a lot of websites anymore, but I will for people if they need me to. I build tools. I can build a website, pretty good one most of the time. And I don't care if I make money doing it or not, because I just want to be helpful with people. There are people that are out there that will drive to a place, take a bunch of photos, give them to you, and say, hey, just, figure it out later. It's not a big deal. That doesn't always work. Sometimes you got to pay the big bucks. And eventually you do have to pay the big bucks. You can't be a mooch, right? That's, I guess, the closing thing. But, and so that is all I got. If you want to find me on the internet, you can just search for JJJ and you'll find me somewhere. And thanks for having me.
All right. I had the biggest beard, so they had me speak twice. All right. So, let's talk about cool tools. You ready for this? You guys still awake? You ready to get out of here? All right. Hootsuite is really awesome because you can manage all of your social media accounts from one platform. But what I really like about Hootsuite is that you can have several team members contribute without sharing those passwords. So you can set them up as a user on Hootsuite, and then everybody can chime in and collaborate with your accounts without actually, you don't have to be scared of them changing your password. So similar to Hootsuite is also Buffer, which I really like too. And both platforms allow you to just say, post this out there, and it's going to pick the most accurate, the best time on your Facebook, on your Twitter. And both platforms have recently allowed the ability to schedule Instagram posts. So you don't have to just be on one person's phone the entire time, or have to worry about creating a photo, editing it maybe, and then like transferring it back to your phone. So you can schedule them all from here. I also like to use an app. This one's for the Mac. Any MacBook users out here? All right. So, any of you have Flume? Anybody using Flume? Flume's awesome for Instagram. So if you're really into Instagram, what's cool about Flume is it's a desktop app that you can not only upload photos to Instagram, but you can also upload videos to Instagram. And you can go through and search hashtags to pick the correct ones. It's a lifesaver. Canva? Is anybody using Canva? Yeah, all right. So Canva is really awesome because you can use Canva to resize your photos and to the correct size for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. They all have their preferred size for each platform. So Canva allows you, and it's a totally free tool. They do have paid, but I've always used the free version, and it's a complete time saver. You can create thumbnails for your YouTube videos with Canva. You can create your Facebook banner images, your Twitter. You just select which network you're using and upload your photos, adjust the size, and download them in a new format. I was glad we talked about WordPress. I want to mention a plugin called Yoast. It's an SEO plugin for WordPress. But what I really like about it is Yoast in there has a social media feature. And you can really tailor your blog posts right within that social feature for Facebook and Twitter. And what I mean about tailor, you can select a nice photo that's going to take advantage of the space on Facebook. You can tailor that title and description so that anytime your blog post or your web page is shared on either platform, if anyone shares it, it's going to be very consistent every time. So you don't have to worry about random images popping up and people typing in different descriptions. They just share it once, boom, shows up nice, big for that platform, and it's ready to go. Instant articles. Anybody use instant articles at all for their Facebook? This is great to add to your WordPress site. It's really easy. Instant articles allows you to, there's a little bit of an approval process with Facebook, but it allows you to push out your content anytime you create a blog post. All of a sudden the copy of your blog post is cached with Facebook, so that when people see it, you might notice on your phones, it's for mobile, but you might see on your phones when people share news articles, there might be that little lightning bolt. That means that you're not leaving Facebook to read that article, but you still get the website view, right? So that's really easy to set up. So anytime you create a blog post, it's all ready for instant articles or Google AMP. So people just access your information that much quicker. Ecamm Live. Ecamm Live is an awesome tool for MacBooks. It really allows you to go live on Facebook right from your fan page, from your desktop. And it has a lot of nice features. And one thing I really like is the ability to, while you're looking at your computer and filming yourself live, is you can see the chat or what people are commenting and reply back. So as you're live on Facebook, you can start interacting with those questions in real time. Also, cool tools is equipment, right? So nowadays, it still is pretty acceptable that you can film video with your phone, right? But what happens is we turn our phones sideways, it gets real shaky, and all of a sudden that user experience, nobody wants to watch your video, right? You want to keep people, interested in your video 3 minutes in, So I like to use different tools, and I brought some today. So one tool you can get is you can get a rig for your phone, right? So here I have just an iPhone, and with this setup, I have a nice stabilizer. I have an extra lens on here, right? Can everybody see this? And now my video footage is going to be very stable. I have an extra microphone. Audio is very important with video, as well as lighting. So I have this whole rig set up. This is a Beast Grip rig. And now I can mount lights, extra mics. My video is nice and stable. I have it horizontal, and people are going to love this footage. High def. The quality of video on your phone is amazing, right? That's pretty cool. Then, if you want to take it, I like to say a little step further, if you want to do like vlogging, because this you can't really film yourself. You kind of could, but you can't really see what's happening, right? So then we go to more of a camera setup that now I can still get video footage. Everything's still stable. I got it on a nice tripod. I got the external mic. We're gonna have great audio. It's a Canon, so it's gonna be high quality. Just like that camera there. Pretty awesome. It's got a mic on it. That one's on a tripod. This one's more of a mobile setup. So I have a screen that flips up, and now I can see myself, right? So I have to start filming myself and get high quality video that I can then export into like a Filmora and edit and get that all nice and ready for YouTube. Now, you want to take video a step further. Maybe you want to do some live. Maybe you need a studio setup, right? How far do you want to take it? You don't really need to do a whole studio setup, but maybe you want to be elaborate. Get a weekly show going, right? So you want like a nice backdrop or a station where you can film this stuff and you get some extra lighting in. Lighting is very important. Maybe you want to add, what I like to use is this tool. It's a website called Epidemic Sound to get good music for my YouTube videos. Things that are going to be, you can buy songs right from Epidemic Sound, and you're not going to get flagged for using copyrighted material, right? So sound can be very important. Just as I said before, a lot of people watch videos with the sound off. Well, when they're at home on their computers or on their TVs, they listen with the sound on, right? So those are my cool tools. I think I'm right on time. It's 10 o'clock. If you'd like to know more about Geneva Services or BizTank, come see me after, or Evan there after the show. And we'd be happy to tell you about all the cool things we're doing. You can also, again, follow me on Twitter or Facebook at Wrestling Andy, or use hashtag AskRedbeard, or like my Facebook page, AskRedbeard. All right, thank you.
I also want to open it up for some questions. I don't want to forget to do that. So if anybody has a question, you could stand up and I'll bring the mic to whoever it might be directed to. Does anybody have any follow-up questions or anything they want to know more of?